Our love is an artwork. Leo, guess what I heard today in my art elective class? My roommate Monica asked, and I would never have guessed that this conversation would lead to my life changing forever. I don't know, more gay drama, I tried guessing with an ironic tone in my voice. Oh, come on, don't say it like you love gay drama. No one does it like the art kids. I chuckled at that because it was true. Yeah, maybe we should have gone for an art degree instead of taking creative writing, I joked. Monica laughed at that, and I followed. We both were self-aware of our terrible drawing skills. Thank God we were writers. No, it's not gossip, it's something I'm sure you'll be interested in, she clarified, not before making a suspense pause with a big smile on her face. Someone from my art elective course is looking for a writer, apparently for a comic project, and I think you are perfect for the job. It's totally up your alley. My mouth opened and then closed, unsure of what to say. It was true that I enjoyed script writing and working on short stories instead of long novels like Monica's usual work. My first thought was it was a great opportunity, but I couldn't stop an anxious feeling built in my stomach, mostly because I'd never done anything like that. The pay is pretty good, she added. Plus, I've already put in a good word for you and he was interested. You just have to meet him. I quickly grabbed my phone and checked my bank account. It was indeed looking bad this month. Okay, I'll do it. Sounds good. Monica squealed and hugged me. The next day around 3 p.m. I proceeded to walk up to the art faculty. Even though Monica gave me this guy's number, I decided against calling or texting him. I've always been terrible with phone communication. Every time I tried it, I came across as way more awkward and cold than I was, especially with strangers. That's why I opted to just go for it and just searched for him. Thanks to Monica's clear instructions, I made it to the study rooms area and there I was, standing in front of room number 4. This was his usual spot. My hands knocked and I waited for a second, thinking of the possibility of no one being inside. Yes? Come in, a deep voice said from the other side of the door. When I got inside, my breathing suddenly went still. An attractive, tall man was standing in front of me with his shoulder-length straight black hair, deep blue eyes, and striking features. A gulp got stuck in my throat when my eyes spotted his ink-covered muscular arms. He was something else. So, how can I help you? He asked, sounding amused when silence took over for a second. This man had a smug grin on his face. I immediately looked away. He had caught me staring. A raging blush took over my cheeks, and I cleared my throat to find my voice again. Yeah, right, sorry. I'm Leo, a writing student. I introduced myself awkwardly. I heard you were looking for a writer. Oh yes, Leo. That's a pretty name. He shook my hand and eyed me up and down indiscreetly, offering me a playful smile. The way his thumb grazed against my skin was not accidental, and neither was the wink he gave me after. What a flirt! I didn't like it. Or maybe I just didn't like the effect that had on me. I'm Sage. Nice to meet you. I wanted to roll my eyes, but I decided not to. Someone had to be professional. Would you like to read some of my work? No need. I think we're going to work well. That didn't sit well with me. I felt like he didn't care enough about his project to do proper research on who was the best person for the job, and that bothered me. But I decided to ignore the warning lights. At the end of the day, it was his project and I was here for the money. He proceeded swiftly to explain the work dynamic. My main job was to write a plot outline page by page of the comic story. The main theme he wanted to center the comic around was growing up as a queer kid. When he mentioned that, I felt a strange feeling in my stomach at the confirmation of the idea of him also being gay. We agreed on meeting here every other day, because Sage wanted to sketch my ideas to see if they would work. So the job was great and the pay was decent, so I accepted without doubt. 2 days later, I arrived at the study room and Sage was nowhere to be found. He appeared maybe 30 minutes later, and by then my patience was already running thin. Sage greeted me with a cheeky, unapologetic smile, and this time I didn't stop myself from rolling my eyes. We put our hands to work, and soon I noticed our working styles were too different. The more time we spent together, the more it confirmed my suspicions. I disliked everything about him. I've always found comfort in planning and structure, but he was not at all punctual, was unorganized, and carefree. My sanity was put to the test every time we met. The thing that drove me crazy the most was the fact I still found him attractive despite everything. By the end of the first week of working together, I was deeply regretting accepting this job. A few days later, it was Friday night when I sat on my couch next to Monica to finally rest. I couldn't stop the frustrated sigh from leaving my mouth. "Is Sage giving you a hard time?" she asked in a sudden defensive tone. I chuckled at the idea of Monica squaring up on Sage for me, a petite blonde against a tall, tattooed man. "No, it's not that at all," I shook my head, because, in all honesty, he was a nice person overall. Maybe a little too flirty, smug, and distracting for my taste, but he wasn't a bad person at all. "I just think we don't fit that well together." "Makes sense," she agreed with me, and then proceeded to sigh in relief. "Thank God I don't have to fight Sage. I think he's cool, even if not everyone agrees." I turned to look at her with that last comment. "What do you mean by that?" Monica took a couple of seconds before answering. She looked uncertain and maybe even guilty. "Well, there are some rumors about him." "What kind of rumors?" I asked, a little intrigued now. "He used to have a high school girlfriend. They were together for years," she started the story. She paused to get closer to me and whisper the next part as if there were more people in our apartment who could hear us. "And he was cheating on her with multiple people, men and women, for a long time. It was so bad, the girlfriend dropped out of art school and everything because of him. Everyone always talks about that in the art faculty and how he sleeps around like it's a sport. He's a total nympho." I opened my mouth to defend Sage, just out of pure instinct, but my mouth closed when I realized I didn't have anything to say. Anger boiled inside of me. That night, I went to bed conflicted. The next day. At 3 p.m., I went to Sage's office just to quit the project. When I walked inside, I fully expected the study room to be empty, and this day would be like the rest, with me having to wait for him to show up. So, imagine my surprise when I saw Sage there, sleeping on his chair, his head resting against the table. I got closer quietly, still surprised by his presence. His laptop was open, and then I saw it, the most beautiful character art I have ever seen. My mouth fell open when I noticed all the small details, the features, the jewelry, the clothing style. All of these were the ideas I pitched to him exactly to the T. All this time, he was listening to everything I said, even the most insignificant details. Strangely, I felt moved by Sage's work. As if he noticed my presence, Sage opened his eyes and quickly sat upright when his eyes locked with mine. "Sorry, I fell asleep," he apologized and rubbed his eyes. "When did you get here?" "I just did. Have you been here for long?" "Since early in the morning, the moment they opened the door. I was thinking about your ideas all night and I couldn't sleep." He stretched his back for a second and a yawn escaped from his mouth. "Since 5 a.m. then?" I asked. My eyebrows arched upwards while my jaw hung slack. That was just insane. "You are telling me you've been 10 hours here drawing. Are you crazy?" "I just really wanted to draw your concepts," he said casually before shrugging. "We can say you inspired me." I felt flattered, and I ignored every other feeling that raised in my chest. "Well, you are very talented." I looked at him directly into his eyes, trying to convey something in my words. "Thanks," he smiled at me. It was sincere and bright instead of his smug smirks. "By the way, what are you doing here?" "I also felt inspired and wanted to work," I lied in a heartbeat. Every single thought of wanting to quit had left me. He truly was so talented in what he did. His work made me want to keep going. So I sat down next to him and put myself to work. I felt bad for ever doubting his passion for the project. I just didn't understand him. He was like a spur of energy that couldn't stop once he started. It was cool seeing him like that. That day we synced up so much better. We spent working all day, bouncing off each other and giving constant feedback. Once we were happy with the characters, only then we got up, ready to go home. I was surprised when I checked my phone and the screen said it was past 9 p.m. Sage looked at the dark sky with a smile on his face. Wow, you coming in a non-scheduled day and also staying super late out of your usual time? His hand covered his mouth as if he was talking about something outrageous. I must be rubbing off on you. I rolled my eyes but still laughed. Such a terrible influence. The worst, he nudged me with his shoulder while we were walking. Want to do something tonight? I stopped in my tracks. Something like what? I asked suspiciously. I didn't particularly appreciate where the conversation was going. Whatever you want. I just want to spend more time with you, he said, and he looked at me in a way that felt different. My heart skipped a beat, even though I didn't want it to. Stop, I said, and I meant it. Today, we were great together. I didn't want to jeopardize that. Stop what? He acted innocent, but his sly smile showed me otherwise. I'm just being friendly. Sure, you are famous in your faculty for being just friendly. As soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted them. Sage's smile fell from his face. He blinked a couple of times and looked away. Alright, suit yourself. See you later. He didn't even let me answer before walking away, and guilt flowed through my body. I was trying to tease him, not hurt him. Insomnia took over me that night and the next one. Even if the rumors were true or not, my words were uncalled for. The expression he showed me was something stuck in my mind. I felt really bad and wanted to apologize, but at the same time, I didn't know how to. Some days later. A couple of days went by when I found the courage to go look for him, thinking of a million speeches to apologize. There I was on a Tuesday standing in front of the door of the study room when I heard two people inside. I could recognize Sage's voice anywhere now, and the other one I'd never heard before was a woman's. My legs didn't move and I just stood there. Why are you like this, Erica? Sage questioned, exasperation in his voice. How long are you going to be mad? Come on, it's been some time now. I'm not mad, I just don't understand why are you here, Sage clarified with a calmer voice. Because we used to have so much fun together. You cannot say we didn't. You would be lying. Yeah, it was fun until you cheated on me, Sage answered with sarcasm in his tone. With how many people? Oh right, a shit ton. I covered my mouth with both hands when my jaw opened in shock, trying not to let out a single sound. It was a mistake and I regret it. I was going through something and you know it. The girl's voice was not so sweet anymore. I felt full of spite. You're being unfair for not even hearing me out. I'm being unfair? Sage sounded in complete disbelief, like the conversation was making him lose his mind. I'm being unfair? Stop talking and leave already. I panicked for a second, and I walked away from the door and sat in a chair that was in the hallway, trying to act natural and casual, minding my own business. I looked down, sticking my eyes on the floor, and this Erica girl walked quickly without even spearing me a glance. Thank God. When I thought I was in the clear, a pair of black combat boots appeared in my eyesight. My heart sank and I slowly peered up. I gulped and I tried to put my best smile. What are you doing here? Sage was standing in front of me with his arms crossed. I felt like he was about to scold me. Oh, hey you, Sage, hi, I said awkwardly and cringed at myself for being so painfully obvious. You heard. I thought he would look more visibly mad, especially with the argument I just heard. But he was his usual chill self, like it was no big deal. I nodded. I didn't see the point in lying anymore. Sorry, didn't mean to, I apologized, feeling embarrassed for spying on him like that. It's fine. It's the only thing he said before turning and walking back to the study room. I followed close to him. Are you okay? Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm the one in the wrong here, or that's what everyone believes anyways. There was some bitterness in his voice covered in sarcasm. His eyes refused to look at anything but the floor. I'm so sorry for saying that the other day. My hand went to grab gently his tattooed arm to get his attention, and his eyes connected with mine. People are stupid. I'm stupid. Sorry. It's fine. We're cool, he said, and the honesty in his voice gave me a big sense of relief. Sage meant his words. Can I ask you something? I asked, a little unsure if I should continue with my train of thought. Sure, but I don't know if I'll answer it. Yeah, please don't if you don't want to. I just wanted to know how things turned this way. She cheated on you and everyone thinks it's the other way. How? Sage sighed and looked at me like he was debating whether he should answer. My ex spread the rumor herself after we broke up and people believed it because apparently me being bi made it easy to believe. He explained it like it was a simple thing. At the beginning it was fine, but things got so much bigger when she dropped out. Everyone started blaming me. And people didn't believe your side of the story? I felt anger rise inside of me. It felt unfair. I've never told my side of the story, he said. What? Why? I questioned, confused. Why would he let people just say anything they wanted? Many reasons. Because I didn't think I had to expose my personal life like that. He started as if he was going to start listing multiple things, but he stopped himself. He looked at me and then he looked at the floor. Or maybe despite everything, I didn't want people attacking her if I told everyone the truth, because when everything went down, she was not doing well, mentally, like at all. It's not an excuse for her behavior, but still, I didn't want to make things harder for her, and now that she is back at school, I don't want any more trouble. I fell silent in surprise. I didn't know what to say. Sage chuckled when he saw that face I was making. Is that crazy? A little. I think it's crazy how much of a good person you are, and stupid as hell. You don't owe her anything. I truly believe this. He was a much better individual than me. My spite and anger would never let me show kindness like that. Oh, shut up, he rolled his eyes. What's done is done. I'm being serious. You don't deserve that. It's insane how you can be so calm. If I were you, I would be screaming in the hallways every day. Too tired to be angry anymore, his lips settled in a thin line and he shrugged in a sign of defeat. Then I'll be angry for you. I have plenty to lend. I nudged him with my elbow and I smiled at him, desperately trying to make the mood less heavy. I hated seeing him like this. Screw your exes and everyone else. He looked straight into my eyes, surprised for a couple of seconds, his mouth opening and then closing. He finally smiled at me. Thanks for saying that. It means a lot. We worked for more than 6 hours again that day. I even didn't notice when I fell asleep. When I opened my eyes, Sage was staring at me. Fingers gently caressed my hair. He didn't see me awake at first, but then his eyes locked with mine. I expected embarrassment or panic, but instead, he just showed warmth and comfortableness, like our positions now were natural and where we belonged. His hand went to touch lightly my cheek. He smiled at me, and I smiled back. Come on, I'll take you home, he said. On the way to my apartment, our eyes never stayed away from each other. Our shoulders were always in contact, like our bodies were trying to stay close to each other. When we were at the entrance, I lingered there, not getting inside because I didn't want tonight to end. Leo, he called me. Yes? My chest felt full of expectations. He walked closer to me. My heart rate went crazy in my chest. His hand gently cupped my cheek. This was it. My eyes fluttered closed and my lips twitched in anticipation, but nothing happened. His hand dropped from my face and he just said his goodbye before leaving. I wouldn't have minded a kiss. Correction, I wanted that kiss desperately. Sometime later. The next time I saw him, I tried to settle things between us. Wanted to tell him how I felt about him, but Sage acted strange. In everything related to the project, he was perfect. His art was as beautiful as always, but besides that, every time I tried to get a real conversation out of him, he would change the subject, avoiding my eyes, or walk away. The closer I tried to get, the farthest he pushed me. 2 weeks later, my part of the work was done. I can't believe the script is finally done, Sage sighed in great relief. I nodded, unable to use my voice. I was scared I'd say something I'd regret. Thank you for everything. That made my stomach sink. Why did he have to say that? Like he was saying goodbye. It felt like this was the ending of something big, something I wouldn't be able to get back. I wanted to say something, but I didn't dare to. My anxiety and fear of rejection made me silent, and just like that, I just let him go. A few weeks later, 3 weeks went by, and I heard nothing from Sage. I tried to stick to my previous routine so I wouldn't lose my mind completely. It was of no use. I couldn't get that man out of my head. Everywhere I went, everything I did reminded me of him. It was consuming me, no matter how hard I tried to power through. Even Monica noticed something was wrong with me. But when she asked, all I could do was offer a fake smile and say I was fine. I opened my laptop and tried writing to distract myself. A small notification popped up on the corner of my screen. I opened it. The content was only a PDF attachment, nothing else, not even a message in the email. I opened the file and there it was, the comic. I read it one time, then a second. I laughed and then I felt like crying. I couldn't believe that it was done. Sage's art was stunning as always, but this was truly a masterpiece, and I was so grateful I could be part of it. On my third read, I noticed there was a small message on the last page at the bottom. I am grateful for many things you gave me. Even if it's left unsaid, I'll carry them with me forever. My eyes swelled and I couldn't stop the tears from flowing. How dare he write something like that? I wanted to be angry, but my heart missed him so much. Pain was the only thing I could feel. As if it was divine intervention, my phone rang, with the name of the only person I wanted to talk to on the screen. Oh hey, did you see the final result I sent you? He asked when I picked up. He was as casual as always. Are you crying? His voice turned worried and surprised. Yes, idiot, I answered, no point in hiding it anymore. I read your comic, everything, even that last bit. My writing is that bad? I should stick to drawing then, he joked in an awkward tone. I could sense his nervousness and uncertainty. I wanted to be angry, but truthfully, I appreciated his effort in trying to lighten the mood. Shut up and tell me where you are right now. We need to talk. Well, it's funny that you say that. Maybe you'd like to open the door of your apartment. I walked to my door and opened it, and in fact, Sage was there. Hey, it's been a while, Sage said shyly with a coy smile on his face. It's been a while my ass, I crossed my arms almost hugging myself trying to find comfort. For weeks I was fighting to keep it together, but I couldn't anymore. My emotions were taking over me. We had this night where I felt like we connected, and the next day out of nowhere, you decided to start avoiding me with no explanation. You made me feel like I was crazy, like what happened between us was all in my head, and now you just write some pretty words and show up here? Why? I'm sorry. That night I realized how much of a mess my life was, and I didn't want you to be involved in all of that. I had so much going on, the rumors, the lies, my ex. I didn't want to drag you down with me. His hand went to hold mine, and then I let him do it, feeling the warmth. But let me tell you this. It wasn't in your head, okay? It was very real. It still is. I like you, Leo, a lot, like crazy. Ever since I first saw you, I wanted to... I didn't let him finish. I grabbed his face and kissed him like I wanted to do for so long. I felt a faint smile against my lips for a second, and Sage's hand embraced me. I like you too, I whispered into his mouth in between kisses. Even if I have a crazy ex and everyone thinks the person you like is a serial cheater? I laughed at that. My hands rested on his shoulders, feeling like they belonged there. I'll just have to stand up for you if anyone dares to say anything. Thanks, but I don't think I'll need it. I started to set the record straight. I mean, I don't go around saying I got cheated on, but I do defend myself now. He looked shy talking about it. I felt a sense of pride built in my chest. You are? Yes. Oh, and also I talked with Erica. Told her I didn't want to be involved with her in any way, not even friends. So, that's also done. Oh, look at you, putting your life together. You are rubbing off on me, I guess. Good. I grabbed his face and kissed him again. The next day. I went to pick him up at his faculty for a date we had agreed on over text. My classes had already finished and I was so excited. Once I found the right classroom, I waited 20 minutes before people started coming out. Sage walked out with a surprised but pleasant expression on his face. "Hey," he said with an excited tone in his voice. His hands reached for mine as soon as he got close to me. That's one thing I noticed yesterday about Sage. He was touchy and I loved it. "I didn't know you were going to be waiting here." "Well, here I am." I wanted to kiss him so badly, so my eyes searched around us. I thought people would be walking around the hall, but I didn't expect to see them hanging out around us, eyeing us and whispering, staying only to see what we were up to and gossip about us. My eyes glared at them for a second, and then I saw her, Sage's ex, Erica. She had a sad expression on her that looked fake, and people were around her comforting her. Was this what Sage had to put up every day? I wanted to scream that Sage was the victim here, but I knew Sage wouldn't like that very much. When Sage saw my expression, he also looked around us, and then he let go of my hand, stepping away from me. That hurt a little, but I calmed myself before I knew why he did it. His pained and worried face said everything to me. He was trying to protect me, but I didn't need protection. I grabbed his hand and hugged his arm, acting extra clingy. Sage was startled, but he didn't push me away. "So, where are we going today for our date, baby?" I asked loudly. If they are going to gawk at us, might as well give them something to look at. Sage showed a devilish smile at me before leaning against me. Oh, he understood me so well. "Wherever you want, honey," he answered in the same tone as me. Erica's expression went from sad to outraged in a second. I held my laugh, and we continued to play our parts as we walked away, saying all kinds of corny things. Once we were out there, we started laughing our asses off. "That was so great," Sage said once we calmed. "You are amazing." He pulled me in by the arm and my body collided against his. His lips kissed mine with passion. It was nothing like the timid kiss we shared yesterday. I hugged him tightly, my fingers scrunching the back of his shirt. "By the way," I said when we separated, our arms still holding each other, "don't ever let go of my hand again, alright? You let them win like that." His lips kissed mine again strongly before whispering, "Promise." I looked down at my watch. "Oh, we are going to be late." "For what?" he asked, laughing as I dragged him with myself. "Our first date," I announced, and he gave me a delighted, surprised look. I couldn't help but grin at him. "Don't look at me like that. We're stuck together for some time." "A long time, I hope," he replied. I smiled at him. "A long time it is then. But we must start from somewhere. And it's a coffee date." "Yes," I announced. After that, Sage and I started to date officially. We tried to spend every moment we could together. People continued to say all types of things about us, but we didn't care, because we both knew what was the truth. Eventually, Sage's rumors died down, and they were completely debunked when Erica's ex-partners uncovered the truth on social media. Erica's reputation was now the one ruined. No one ever apologized to Sage, but he was a sweetheart and didn't hold any grudge towards anyone. Also, Sage's comic did amazing with his teachers, and when he posted it online, it went viral. We are currently working on a second one, and loving every second of it. Our love truly feels like it's an artwork in itself. The end. Have you ever had a rumor affect a relationship of yours? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.